Jake Asman.
It's time for True or False, a segment we do each and every Saturday at this time. My esteemed producer, Sean Mapes, has put together true or false questions. I have the true or false answers. Let's do it. Take it away, Sean Mapes.
Kicking off, same way we kicked off the show, true or false, Sam Darnold is kicking air and cursing the Jets' name under his breath, that the Jets are helping Zach Wilson with all these players that they've picked.
True. I mean, Sam Darnold has got to be just chapped that he sees the Jets go out there and their first 4 picks in the draft are offensive players. In fact, they went out there and traded up for a guard/tackle that is from USC. That was there when Darnold was there. I mean, that's all you need to know. I think Sam Darnold is furious if he's looking at what the Jets have done in the draft. Now, you could say, well, Jake, he's going to Carolina. They picked up his option. They believe in him. Sure, I'm sure that's true. But it's human nature to be frustrated when the team that said you weren't good enough moves on from you and then proceeds to go out there and address every need that they had to try and help the next guy have success. Like, the biggest knock on Sam Darnold was he didn't have weapons. He didn't have the right coaching. He didn't have playmakers. He didn't have protection. Well, they got him Robert Saleh, who then hired Mike LaFleur. So they're running a quarterback-friendly offense. Then they signed Corey Davis in free agency, Keelan Cole in free agency. And then they go out there and take Wilson, Elijah Vera Tucker, Elijah Moore. Then they go out there and take a running back that people are high on, and Michael Carter. I mean, if you're Sam Darnold, human nature's got to be like, man, this team stinks. They really are the worst. And I wouldn't blame them. I really wouldn't.
I mean, they pick Michael Carter, the running back. Then they make sure that they got the right Michael Carter by picking the other Michael Carter just to avoid any confusion.
Yes, the Jets took not one but 2 Michael Carters today. So it's safe to say they might lead the NFL in Michael Carters this year.
Exactly. And maybe we should rephrase this question. Is Adam Gase upset? Now they're finally investing on this offensive mastermind was held back, was handcuffed with the lack of picks under the McCaggan regime.
It's a fair point. Maybe Adam Gase is now going to NFL teams being like, see, like they set me up to fail. I deserve a job to be an OC again. I'm an offensive genius. I just didn't have any players to work my genius.
Please ignore the fact Ryan Tannehill immediately got better, became a top 10 quarterback after he left. And ignore all that. Now,
to your point on Gase, if Sam Darnold in Carolina plays well, and I think he will be a pretty good quarterback. I'm still a huge Sam Darnold fan and believer. If Sam goes to Carolina and plays well, Adam Gase should never be allowed to work in football at any level. He should not be allowed to coach Pee-wee football. If Tannehill leaves the Dolphins, becomes a Pro Bowler, which he has, and then Darnold leaves the Jets and goes out there and becomes a really good player as well, oh my God, Adam Gase should be banned from ever playing football, ever being around football. He should not be allowed inside an NFL stadium if that were to happen.
He should be forced to become a soccer coach at that point. I mean, and there's a good chance Darnold bounces back with Brady as the OC in Carolina and all the weapons they got. I mean, I'd be sweating it if I'm Gase.
Yes. I think it's safe to say Adam Gase will never be coaching at a high level ever again.
All right, moving on. True or false? This is the other big story, or the second biggest story of the draft. True or false? We have seen the last of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
False. I think he plays one more year and then they
wait him out.
They move on. I just don't see the Packers trading him now. They have too good of a team. I think Aaron Rodgers will treat it like Brady treated his last year in New England, right? He knew it was going to be his last year. Rodgers, I believe, will treat it the same way, where he goes back to Green Bay, win, lose, or draw, whatever happens, he's out. He goes somewhere else to finish his career. The contract makes that possible for that to be the case from a Packers standpoint. Eventually, they got to play Jordan Love. They used the first-round pick on the guy. So I think Rodgers ends up reporting back to Green Bay. It could get messy during the year. It could get messy over the summer and training camp. But ultimately, week 1, he's their quarterback. This is his last year. It's like the last dance, as our buddy Bill Schmidt said last hour. Like, we knew it was MJ's last year in Chicago. They're breaking up the Packers. Rodgers goes on to a different team, and that's it in Green Bay.
And you got to believe, I think Aaron Rodgers secretly loves how, like, he'll relish the opportunity to make it as dramatic and as contentious as possible during the 2021 season if he rides it out throughout the year being on the Packers, just because he seems like a guy who thrives under that kind of putting people in awkward positions and giving passive-aggressive press conferences and going on the Pat McAfee show. I think Aaron Rodgers secretly wants to come back to Green Bay just to like drag this out and make it even messier,
or win a Super Bowl and then just leave and be like, "Screw you guys!"
Middle fingers on the podium. Yeah,
he wins the Super Bowl, middle fingers on the podium. Have fun with Jordan Love. See you later.
Rodgers out. Yeah. If the Packers had any sense of humor about this, they would ask Armani Rodgers to, "Hey, have you thought about asking Aaron for number 12?"
That would be pretty funny.
All right. I think it's true. I think this is the last that we see in Green Bay, just because I believe in synchronicity and the history repeating itself. Bart Starr, Hall of Fame quarterback, played 16 years with the Green Bay Packers. Brett Favre, Hall of Fame quarterback, played 16 years with the Green Bay Packers. 2020 was Aaron Rodgers' 16th year with the Green Bay Packers. I say he's out of there. History says he's out.
All right. We shall see. What do you got next?
Moving on. Justin Fields is the savior at quarterback that the Bears have been waiting for.
I'm going to go false on this because if Chicago's one of those teams that until you see it, you just have to bet against it, right? I mean, you can't buy all the way in until you actually see them find that savior. Now, I think Fields has a chance to be very good. What worries me about him going to Chicago is I don't think Nagy and Pace. What are you doing with the mic? It's like crunching.
I just was moving.
What are you doing there? Have some radio decorum, Sean. My goodness. Anyhow, I mean, Nagy and Pace might be fired after this year. So then he's dealing with another coach and another GM that didn't draft him. And it's like, I just wonder, is there going to be enough stability there for Fields to find success? Or is it going to be like Sam Darnold all over again, where Sam has like 3 head coaches, 3 OCs, new GM? Like, you just want to see Fields get a chance to be the guy, but I just wonder if the Bears are just such a mess of an organization, if they'll be able to like put him in a position for success. So that's what I worry about. So I don't think he's the savior, but I think he could be pretty good. So I'll go false on the question, but I'm rooting for Fields to do well.
Yes, I have high hopes for Fields, but I am worried that he went to the Chicago Bears because the Bears have 0 track record of doing anything.
And it's not like the Jets who have a new regime.
Yes.
The Bears have the same regime that picked Trubisky over Mahomes and Watson.
I mean, I guess it's not an absolute nightmare situation for Chicago, but how conflicted do you have to be of, well, if they're really good, Pace and Nagy gets a signed contract extensions and I'm stuck with them. Or if they stink, I have to do all this Trubisky stuff all over again, this time with Fields. So it's a really tough spot. I also go false just because I believe some teams are just destined to be the same forever. They'll probably have a great defense during Justin Fields' time there, but the offense will never put it together.
We shall see. We shall see.
Moving on to another team that picked a quarterback, the San Francisco 49ers made the right choice with Trey Lance at number 3.
True. Because I'll tell you what, to me, you could just not take Mac Jones in that spot. You don't trade 3 ones to get a guy that, as we all said, would be available for them at 12 because Jones went 15th. So yes, he would have been available at 12. So if you're moving up that high, you got to take a quarterback that has a major upside. That's like a physically gifted freak. And if you watch Trey Lance play, I know he hasn't played a lot, but if you watch highlights of him, he has that upside that you look for in like a generational type of quarterback. So he's barely played. He played at FCS North Dakota State. It's a boomer bust type of pick, but it's the right choice because if you're going to be that aggressive in trying to get a quarterback, he needs to have that level of upside. I think Lance has a higher ceiling than Mac Jones. So true, they made the right choice. You could argue Fields, but you know what? The Jets didn't want Fields. The Niners didn't want Fields. That tells me right there that maybe Fields is not the guy. So I'm more on Trey Lance than I am Mac Jones. So true, they made the right choice.
Especially so toolsy. We all hear that not Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan can make anyone a good quarterback. Well, at least get someone that has superior athleticism. And if he can teach him to be quarterback, then you have a great athlete at quarterback. I think it's the right pick as well. True or false? The Cincinnati Bengals will regret drafting Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell and protect Joe Burrow.
Ooh, the Cincinnati Bengals, true, will regret it. Because as good as Jamar Chase might be, I'm sorry, a great quarterback could throw guys open. A great quarterback could find weapons and make them weapons. Like, who did Brady have for all those years in New England, right? I mean, he had Gronk, he had, Edelman, but he didn't need the best of the best to win.
Yeah.
They found ways to win because the quarterback was so damn good. Like, Chase is great, but I'm sorry. Penei Sewell protecting Joe Burrow for the next decade, I think you get more out of a great lineman than you do a great receiver. Now, Chase might make me eat my words next year. He's that good. But I just think Cincinnati had weapons already. Like Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins are pretty good receivers. They didn't necessarily need Chase. I get why they did it. I would have gone offensive line. I would have taken Penei Sewell.
Yes. For me, it boils down to it's easier to find people that are 6 foot and can run fast run routes than it is to find a 300-pounder that's potentially a generational left tackle for you. It's just easier to find receivers later in the draft than it is to find a great offensive lineman. I go true as well. I'm worried about Joe Burrow. True or false? Mac Jones will prove all the haters, all the doubters wrong, all the people body shaming him on draft night in New England, and he will be a stud for the Patriots.
New England really has the type, don't they? You see Brady's pre-draft photos. Now you got Mac Jones and his dad bod photos coming out. I'll say this. I think Mac Jones is going to a good situation to have success. I just wonder how good he is. I question Alabama quarterbacks in recent years because of what happened with Tua last year. And Mac Jones obviously is throwing the guys that are all going to be playing in the NFL. Not just that guys that will be playing in the NFL, guys that are, top 10 picks.
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama had 6 guys go in the first round on Thursday. 6. So I just wonder, what he will be at the next level. New England doesn't have great receivers. I think he could be decent. I don't think he's ever going to be a great quarterback, though. I think he's probably around the Kirk Cousins range of player.
Yes, I think he'll be a solid quarterback for them, but nothing too sexy. No, he doesn't have the upside that a Lance or Fields has.
He won't be Tom Brady, and Zach Wilson will be better than Mac Jones. You have that on the record now.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even think. Yeah, some division rivalry.
Yeah,
there
the
with
future
the
of the AFC East. You have Josh Allen, Tua, Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones.
Oh, not
within
bad.
the last two,
all like 25 and under.
Yeah, within the last, I guess this would be 3 years, every team in the AFC East has now used a first-round pick on drafting a quarterback.
Interesting. I go true as well. I think just he won't be an absolute flop. So I
think he'll be better than Tua. How about that?
Oh, I like that. All right. True or false? Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida, was a luxury pick for the Falcons, and they could have done more with the number 4 pick.
So true. It is a luxury pick, but it's not a bad pick.
Yeah.
He's that good. I mean, he might be a Hall of Fame tight end. Like if I say to you, Kyle Pitts is Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski, how are you knocking that pick?
Exactly.
Like what? And I don't know if there was a team that truly wanted to move up because you look at where these quarterbacks ended up. Denver passed on Fields and on Mac Jones. So did Carolina. So did any of these teams that could have moved up. Chicago wasn't moving all the way up from 20 to 4.
Yeah.
So you know what? Atlanta maybe didn't need Pitts, but they will greatly benefit from him. So luxury pick, that's true, but I have no issue with the pick.
And also think about all the close games they lost last year. They were the fourth quarter collapse team. I think they might be a little bit better than the record says, and maybe they can put together at least a great offense. And also, yes, like you said, I think Pitts is an absolute stud and almost can't miss.
You better be a can't miss because otherwise no one will ever take a tight end in the top 4 again.
Yeah. Has anyone ever said he's a can miss? But
it's a good point. Also, I need more from these draft shows. Every first round pick does not hit. All right. 50% of these guys don't pan out. So every pick on NFL Network and ESPN, it's like, oh, this guy's a great fit. Who's not a great fit? Like none of these guys are ever critical of draft picks. I would love for someone to be like, yeah, I just think that's a terrible pick.
Or just how they have a million different broadcasts. They have an ABC broadcast, ESPN. They should have like ESPN2. This is the one. This is the negative broadcast. This is the one where we're like, here's how it doesn't work out.
Yeah, we think he kind of stinks.
I mean, Darren Jeremiah did a little bit with the Leatherwood pick for the Raiders. He was like, I had him like 65 on the board, and then went on to say all the things that he does well.
Yeah.
So I would.
They just don't want to be too negative because like these kids are in college. I get it, but not all these guys are going to work out.
There's a middle ground
Yes.
here. There's a middle ground here. And last one, true or false? You mentioned it. Denver passed on a quarterback at number 9 because they know they can trade for Aaron Rodgers in the future.
False. I just don't believe they loved Mac Jones or Justin Fields. I think maybe part of the decision is, hey, we could always get a quarterback via trade again, like we just did with Bridgewater. But I don't think they passed on it because they know they're getting Aaron Rodgers. Remember, Mark Schlereth was reporting a deal's close to getting done. Mark Schlereth has no sources. I like Mark. He's been on the show. But, man, the guy has put stuff out there on the internet before, and he's always wrong.
Yes.
So
stay in your lane, Mark.
And I like Mark a lot, but he made it sound like this deal was done, and he was the only one running with it, and then it didn't happen. So, I mean, did he clarify those comments at all? I don't know.
Yeah, in general, the guys that aren't insiders trying to break news, they probably have 10% hit rate on this trade is happening. It almost never happens, especially that night.
You just leave it to Schefter and Rappaport. Like those guys, those guys are the ones who break the stories.
Stay in your lane.
Everyone now is even fans with sources. It's hilarious. Oh, I heard from my buddy who's cousins with the roommate of the head scout for the Jets that they're actually going to take Fields over Wilson. It's just people are so stupid.
Yeah, my friend's sister's boyfriend valets so-and-so's car. And so, yeah, trade's happening.
Unbelievable. That wraps it up for True or False here on the Jake Asman Show. Plenty of topics still to dive into. We'll come back. We'll take your calls on the NFL Draft, 800-224-2004 if you want to weigh in. Plus, you can tweet me. I'm on Twitter at Jake Asman. That's JakeAsman. Quick break. We're coming right back here on a Saturday on Sports Map Radio.